When it comes to living life, there's a lot to overthink, but I don't ever have to overthink my water. I've been drinking Smart Water for years and truly love its pure, crisp taste. It's vapor distilled through a process inspired by clouds. I love chic branding, and Smart Water's sleek bottle shape makes it the perfect accessory for any day bag, workout tote, or backpack. Smart Water is the smart way to hydrate no matter what you have going on in your life. Life is full of choices. Smart Water is a simple one. Visit drinksmartwater.com to learn more. Hi, everyone. I'm Rachel Zoe, and you're listening to Climbing in Heels for your weekly dose of glamour, inspiration, and, of course, fun. Today is a monumental day in Climbing in Heels history. We have our first male guest on the show, which I normally don't allow, but he happens to be the king of heels and my best friend for over 20 years, the king, the prince, Brian Atwood. He is truly one of the most talented footwear designers in the fashion industry, and he's sharing his story with us from F.IT and modeling to working with the icon and legend Gianni Versace himself. Brian's positivity is truly infectious, and I cannot wait for you to hear more of his incredible journey. So Brian is my favorite Leo. It is Leo season. I also want to say that Brian is the first male to ever appear on Climbing in Heels.
Okay.
True.
I didn't know that.
Yes, you are the first, not the last. But the first one we have let into this studio on this podcast.
Okay.
And I thought about it.
Big ally.
Well,
obviously.
also because I thought it would be great to talk about the man who has designed heels for women that I have climbed in for the last 20 years. And, you know, because obviously when I say climbing in heels, it's very tongue in cheek, but all the women that I've had on here, I really like to talk about the journeys of how we get to be who we are, right? Because that's a question I've been asked throughout my career is, how did you become Rachel Zoe? And my answer is always like, no idea. There was not a plan. There was definitely not a plan. I just worked really fucking hard. And here we are. So I want to talk a little bit about your story because it is a really good one. And you came up in a time where it's like the height of fashion, literally the height of fashion. Yeah. So you did go to college. I want to start there. You grew up where? Let's share with everybody.
Grew up in a southwest suburb of Chicago, Joliet, Illinois.
Okay.
Went to an all-boy high school, so
great.
Didn't really study fashion, barely you know, I knew I loved art, so that there was an art class. I was so excited that I'm like going to kind of get my creativity part, you know, course. Always knew in my gut I wanted to do something with fashion. I was always
so like you knew coming up as a boy in suburb of Chicago, like fashion was clear to you.
For sure, it was clear to me
because
at
of
such a young. I think my mother had a lot to do with it because, you know, we hear that so and so is your muse. I really believe that she was my muse. I saw how she dressed. I loved her style. I would always watch the whole process that fascinated me of women getting ready.
Yeah.
And it's like the change and how they feel, you know, everything changes.
Yeah.
You put on a lipstick, you put on a heel and earring. And I think I was captured by that magic and I wanted to be part of it.
Yep.
And, you know, fashion then was all about clothing. It was, you know, rarely about shoes. It was more, the shoe was almost just to complement the dress. Totally. It wasn't something like
art,
you know, art and we start dressing from our shoes up, you know, and then it all changed. But yeah, that was my first.
I remember being with you in one of my houses one summer and you're like, can I watch you put your makeup on? You're like, I love this part. Like, you're like, I love the transformation. I'm like, good, because I'm about to be transformed. Like, no, I need to transform right now. And I loved that you loved that because I don't know that many people that like the dress is one thing, but I thought that was super interesting that you loved seeing like the natural beauty into
Mhm.
what they become in that moment, because that's the chameleon part of it, right?
Right,
Like,
right. And I think everyone wants to pretend at some point. With guys it's different. What are you putting? Gel in your hair? I mean,
right.
you can do kind of whatever, but women have it's just it's really art, and I just loved the whole transformation. It got me really excited to say.
And so then you went to FIT, right? You went to
Well,
school.
first, because, I knew at such a young age what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to move to New York and go to fashion school because that's what you did.
The dream.
And so
The
my
dream.
parents were like, okay, let's agree on something. So they both went to like SIE, Southern Illinois University.
Uh-huh.
So they said, why don't you go there like a college, like just not a
Right.
fashion
Like get your
college,
Bachelor
like
of Arts
let's say
right.
a normal
Yep.
school, like
Yep.
to see
Yep.
what else you might want to do. So
Totally.
I said, okay, cool. We'll do that for 2 years. 2 years comes around. I'm like, guess what? 2 years, did it, got the bachelor, the whole thing.
Uh-huh.
I want to go to New York. I know that. And even down in that college, there were some kind of fashion courses that I could take. I mean,
But
I
it
was
wasn't a
taking,
fashion
no, it
school.
was not a fashion school. So I think, and that was good. And it was a great experience for me
Yeah.
to be in. And, I just knew I wanted to start my fashion career. So moved to New York, went to FIT, literally knew
Were
no
you
one, which
ever
is,
were you ever like the poor fashion student, or were you always Prince Brian?
hmm. Rachel, no.
Is this
In my head, I was.
like the scene in the David Beckham documentary when she's like, we were middle class? He's like, your dad was driving a Rolls
A
Royce or
Rolls Royce.
whatever.
Yeah, that was hilarious. No, it was not. I would say I was just enjoying college. I wasn't like
You
crazy, but
weren't
I did have a
starving.
great,
Right.
no,
Right.
I had a great New York experience, just everything New York had to offer, whether it was club life, fashion, excitement. It was like I just took it all in. The city was like I was a sponge, so it was so
Yeah.
exciting to be here, be there, and I'm in love with it ever since.
Yeah.
Can't get
I mean,
enough of it.
no place like it,
Hmm.
honestly. But
Yeah.
then, okay. So how does the king, Gianni Versace, how how do you go from fashion student at FIT
Uh-huh.
to Brian Atwood that now works for Gianni Versace and Donatella? Like, how does that
So
happen?
so while I was at FIT, I think towards the end, this is kind of like what you hear all happens all the time, but who knows
Mhm.
if it does. So an agent saw me out, whether I was at Omar, saw me
Mhm.
out. I think I was either at a restaurant or a club, and they're like, "Oh, you should think about modeling." So
He's
I
the most
was
gorgeous
like,
person I've ever seen. He needs to make money doing this, and so do we.
exactly. And
Right.
I'm like, "Oh, I can do this. I can make money, travel, and
Uh-huh.
like New York is going to be there. New York is always there and
Uh-huh.
amazing." So I said,
Mhm.
okay, so let's do this. And I really used that as a vehicle to travel the world,
Mhm.
meet the designers I wanted to work for,
Mhm.
because how else can I get so close and like say, oh, by the way,
Mhm.
modeling is just something I used to get here, to meet
Totally.
meet you or whatever. So I
Yeah.
remember, I was in Milan, and my mother was like, okay, how long are we gonna like fly around the world, and
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
kind of has to have
Well, it's
a
hard,
time
I think,
limit.
as a parent, because you want your child to have this experience. It's
Of
also
course.
terrifying, I think, as a parent. Like,
Yeah.
are they going to get like taken advantage of? Are they going to get
Right.
lost in a country? Like,
Yeah.
like,
And then and you're like, as a model you can really kind of travel and work wherever. If you want to go to Spain, you can get an agent in Spain, and you can
sure.
live and whatever. So I handwrote out my resume. Because I was like, okay, modeling has, I forget how many years, 5 or something. And
But
I was like,
you were
okay, it's,
smart enough to know that it has an end date.
yes, for sure. And I knew that that's not what I wanted to do. So I literally hand wrote out my resume, and I delivered it to Versace, Prada. I think I delivered it to Tom at Gucci, who was just like the houses that
Yeah,
I could
sure.
see myself in, that always meant something to me.
Mhm.
And, I was like, when I was a young kid, I had a paper route. I remember bought my first Versace shirt, which was a black linen shirt. It was $300 at Neiman Marcus. That could have been like $1,500 back then. But I was
Oh
like,
yeah, for sure.
this is like gold. And that's kind of why Versace was kind of my first pick, like just to go there. And then I dropped the resume off to the person I was always speaking with, the modeling, the casting person. So Versace called me in. I had to be the day of or the day after I dropped it off. And I'm like, okay, I have an interview with him. And I always compare it to like the draft or something. You're kind of like you're a young artist, and stuff like this rarely happens. And all of a sudden Picasso calls you into a studio
Totally.
and asks you, okay, here's the job. And I remember walking through a Parco Sempione in Milan, like, holy shit. I am now not just living in Milan, I am working for Gianni Versace. And this has started like the dream. And I remember it was the best school ever. And I was hired to work with Donatella on Versus Women's. And then I didn't really get into shoes, even though as an adolescent, I was always sketching shoes and feet, but I had no idea what that meant. But it wasn't until Johnny asked
me. A therapist would have a party with that, but sure, yes.
It wasn't until Johnny asked me to create shoes for the haute couture, his 96, was it 96? 96 haute couture. And I'm like, you just say yes. Yes is always the right answer. And then you just deal with it.
Of course.
And if
you
it
panic
turns out like,
after you say yes.
Yes. Just say yes. And then it all kind of
Figure
works
out. Figure it out.
And actually, before I moved to Milan, I went to this I was like, am I doing something crazy? And, in a good way. And I went to this celebrity psychic, and I still have that cassette tape. Who knows, when they recorded things on cassette tapes.
Of course.
And I remember she was like, you're going to be famous for something to do with feet. And I was like, okay, here's your $200 or whatever, hon. This is not my dream. This is not what's going to happen. And she goes, I don't know. Maybe you're going to do a Nike ad, because I was a model back then. She was like, and I was like, okay. She goes, do your feet hurt? Something about feet.
Right.
And I was like, okay. And then after all this, I'm like, where's that tape? I need to listen to that tape again, because it all like kind of revolved around feet.
Sure.
It revolved around feet. And, the Cinderella factor, I call it.
I mean, but like, actually, I think that's the thing. And I think like when I met you, probably around that time,
yeah,
I just remember like you made the most gorgeous shoes. And I think you launched your own brand shortly after that, right?
In 2001, right after.
Oh my God.
Yeah, right. I launched it March 2001. Then the whole world collapsed, in September 2000.
Literally.
Yep. And I thought of it. I said, well, it can only get better because we've been through hell. So I said, you just got to stick with it. Everything eventually will come back. So it's never a great time to do something. Just do it. And, it worked out.
I mean, it's interesting because I think, I think a lot of the people that have been on this pod, myself included, we talk a lot about sometimes not being supported on our journeys. Sometimes there's a lot of petty jealousy with women. And I'm wondering, like, did you ever experience that coming up? Were there people that like tried to take you down? Were they jealous of you? Or was it so small at that point that there wasn't really that stuff happening?
You mean like in the industry?
Like Devil Wears Prada kind of stuff. Like,
no, I never
just a
felt
lot
that.
of petty girl shit. Like,
no, I felt,
mean girl.
no, really, because we're also like young and new.
Yeah.
Especially in the office, because the Versace office I was the only one who spoke English. So it was a great way for me to learn Italian. You're just forced with it, because I said, I'm not going to be that American sitting at a table just saying, and not knowing what's going on. I was like, I'm going to learn it. Very basic, and, we were all in the same boat and more excited than backstabbing each other. Of course.
So you more had the experience of like, it was almost like this young, like incubator of a group that just all loved each other. And you're still friends with a lot of them now, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And, fashion always has drama. Of course, always, and, and that being the small family business that it was Johnny's, Donatella, and Santo. So it was just
Yep.
that was your school and all the, team that was around them, but it was
It's a really
the
good
smallest.
school.
Yeah, it was great.
When it comes to living life, there's a lot to overthink. Like most working moms, I am constantly juggling my work and my family life, and sometimes all that decision making is truly exhausting. But at least I don't ever have to overthink my water. I've been drinking Smart Water for many, many years and truly love its pure, crisp taste. It's vapor distilled through a process inspired by clouds and has added electrolytes for taste. The first thing I do when I wake up in the morning, every morning, is head down to my kitchen to drink water. Hydrating with Smart Water is my favorite way to start the day, and making that simple choice is such a refreshing change of pace from the whirlwind of my life. Starting my day by focusing on myself and my health is so important to me. I'm always a lover of chic branding and packaging, and Smart Water's sleek bottle shape makes it the perfect accessory for any day bag, workout tote, or backpack. I absolutely love how the rounded bottle fits perfectly into my kids' side pockets for school or camp. Smart Water even looks chic displayed on any counter or vanity in my house. As most moms know, it can be tricky to get kids to drink enough water, but my boys absolutely love the taste of Smart Water, and the sports cap is great for their very, very active days. Smart Water is the smart way to hydrate no matter what you have going on in your life. Life is full of choices. Smart Water is a simple one. Visit drinksmartwater.com to learn more.
My dad works in B2B marketing, but I never really knew what that meant. Then one day my dad came by my school for career day and told everyone in my class he was a big MQL man. Then he just kept saying things like, the more MQLs the better, over and over. My friends still laugh at me to this day. I think it means marketing qualified lead. One thing's for sure, I'll be known as the MQL man's kid for the rest of my days. Why couldn't you just be a fireman or a lawyer? Why? You ruined my life, Dad.
Not everyone gets B2B, but LinkedIn has the people who do. And with ads on LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people based on job title, industry, likelihood to buy, and more. Start converting your B2B audience into high-quality leads today. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/customer to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/customer. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
AI might be the most important new computer technology ever. It's storming every industry, and literally billions of dollars are being invested. So, buckle up. The problem is that AI needs a lot of speed and processing power. So how do you compete without costs spiraling out of control? It's time to upgrade to the next generation of the cloud, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, or OCI. OCI is a single platform for your infrastructure, database, application development, and AI needs. OCI has 4 to 8 times the bandwidth of other clouds, offers one consistent price instead of variable regional pricing, and of course, nobody does data better than Oracle. So now you can train your AI models at twice the speed and less than half the cost of other clouds. If you want to do more and spend less, like Uber, 8x8, and Databricks Mosaic, take a free test drive of OCI at oracle.com/strategic. That's oracle.com/strategic. oracle.com/strategic.
When it comes to living life, there's a lot to overthink. Like most working moms, I am constantly juggling my work and my family life, and sometimes all that decision making is truly exhausting. But at least I don't ever have to overthink my water. I've been drinking Smart Water for many, many years and truly love its pure, crisp taste. It's vapor distilled through a process inspired by clouds and has added electrolytes for taste. The first thing I do when I wake up in the morning, every morning, is head down to my kitchen to drink water. Hydrating with Smart Water is my favorite way to start the day, and making that simple choice is such a refreshing change of pace from the whirlwind of my life. Starting my day by focusing on myself and my health is so important to me. I'm always a lover of chic branding and packaging, and Smart Water's sleek bottle shape makes it the perfect accessory for any day bag, workout tote, or backpack. I absolutely love how the rounded bottle fits perfectly into my kids' side pockets for school or camp. Smart Water even looks chic displayed on any counter or vanity in my house. As most moms know, it can be tricky to get kids to drink enough water, but my boys absolutely love the taste of Smart Water, and the sports cap is great for their very, very active days. Smart Water is the smart way to hydrate no matter what you have going on in your life. Life is full of choices. Smart water is a simple one. Visit drinksmartwater.com to learn more. When it comes to living life, there's a lot to overthink. Like most working moms, I am constantly juggling my work and my family life, and sometimes all that decision making is truly exhausting. But at least I don't ever have to overthink my water. I've been drinking Smart Water for many, many years and truly love its pure, crisp taste. It's vapor distilled through a process inspired by clouds and has added electrolytes for taste. The first thing I do when I wake up in the morning, every morning, is head down to my kitchen to drink water. Hydrating with Smart Water is my favorite way to start the day, and making that simple choice is such a refreshing change of pace from the whirlwind of my life. Starting my day by focusing on myself and my health is so important to me. I'm always a lover of chic branding and packaging, and Smart Water's sleek bottle shape makes it the perfect accessory for any day bag, workout tote, or backpack. I absolutely love how the rounded bottle fits perfectly into my kids' side pockets for school or camp. Smart Water even looks chic displayed on any counter or vanity in my house. As most moms know, it can be tricky to get kids to drink enough water, but my boys absolutely love the taste of Smart Water, and the sports cap is great for their very, very active days. Smart Water is the smart way to hydrate no matter what you have going on in your life. Life is full of choices. Smart Water is a simple one. Visit drinksmartwater.com to learn more.
And
School of
crazy
Versace.
at the same time.
Of course. And then
You know.
when Gianni died,
Mhm.
and Donatella came in, you were still there. You stayed there for a while after,
Yeah,
right?
I was with Donatella when the whole thing happened. We were, and that was the weirdest thing because, it being such a small
Yeah.
like a family company, you
Family
felt
business.
really part of that. It
Yeah,
was
of
kind of
course.
like your Italian family.
Yeah.
And when that happened, we were in Rome, and I remember sitting on the floor with Donatella. We had all the models cards because we were doing Donne Sotto le Stelle, which was a fashion show they did on the Spanish Steps in Rome.
Yep. Yep.
And Gianni had already flown because it was after the show, the couture show. He flew to Miami, which he always did. Like, okay, I'm done. I need
To his
vacation.
house.
So
Yep.
we did the Rome show, and then I remember we were just chatting and picking out models. They were also like cute boys and girls. We're all
Yep.
just, oh, that one, that one, that
Yeah.
one. And then all of a sudden, Santo comes in the room and screams her name to like get come
Yeah.
here urgently. And
Yeah.
I've never heard that tone.
Tone.
And I was like, okay, something's up.
Right.
And then I think someone minutes after that, they turned on the news, and it was shocking to see. It was like it was like a
Yeah,
movie.
it was like, this is like a fever dream that isn't
It was
real.
it wasn't real. And then all of a sudden, when I saw like the stretcher and I saw the arm of Johnny, like it came off the stretcher or something, and that's the arm I remember seeing every morning in the office. Like he would always, he called me Brianino, which means little Brian, like a child. Like you're here, and he always said, "You're here to Brianino. You're here to learn, take it all in." And I would always go in the office early because I just love being around the energy. I was like,
of course,
obsessed with just being
It's the
in
best.
that
It's the
element.
best. You can't pay for that.
In that moment, it all felt real, and you could hear a pin drop. No one knew how to deal with it or what happened. It was just
Not
like
real.
bizarre. And the office was like a morgue for probably 3 weeks. And I remember when someone turned on music, and then it was just like, this is
Yeah. We have to
happening.
dance now. We have to like.
And actually, Donatella's first show, I remember everyone was very emotional. And then before the show started, there was this butterfly flying around. And to this day, even Sante Dorazio, Donatella, we all know that was Johnny coming in to check
to
on
make
things.
Sure all was good.
No, to check on things. And I still get chills and emotional because I know it for a fact. And it's still like magic. It was great.
And I think that's right around the time that I met you, because it was Donatella's show when I met you.
I think it was.
It was. I had worked with Gianni right before he
Mm-hmm.
died on,
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to remember which client. It might have been like Cameron Diaz for Shrek. We were
Mm-hmm.
doing something, I can't remember. But, you know, I think coming up in that, and I think something I try to really express to the younger generation now with all these like flex days and vacation and like whatever, and they're like, and they always go, how are you successful? And what do you
Mm-hmm.
say? You were the first one there and the last one to leave. It didn't matter what you were being paid. You always answered the phone. Like if they needed
Right.
you, it was like boot camp. It was like fashion
Right.
boot camp, right? But the best boot camp, and
Right.
taught you everything you know.
Make yourself indispensable if that's possible. As much be the just
Yep.
be the best that you can be. Who cares? It's an hour later or something, or you have to do something. But they can never say you didn't try or didn't do what
True.
was required. You went more. You did more.
Always
So
more. Always
always.
more. And something I want you to share, I think is important for entrepreneurs that listen is, having your own business, having your own brand. It's a lot. It's a lot. And there's highs,
Yes.
there's lows, there's the
Yeah.
lowest lows, the highest highs, even when it's not your own business, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But the thing about you that I always say, and I said it in my Instagram post for your birthday, is like, I have never once seen you discouraged.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen you look or feel defeated. And I've never seen you bring a negativity to anything you do, literally
Mm-hmm.
anything. But like, even if it's like, I mean, anytime, maybe the closest thing is like when you're over like an event and you don't want to be out anymore. You're like, I'm done. Like, basta. I'm going out. Like,
I'm tired.
but typically you bring your energy and like your love and your positivity first and foremost to
Mm-hmm.
everything. I feel like you have a gratitude. Like, I'm the opposite in terms of like, I'll look at the forecast. I'll be like, oh my God, I have to cancel. Oh my God, I have to do this. Oh my God, it's raining. Oh my God, nobody's going to come. Oh my God. And you always go at it like, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. And I want to talk about that because I want to understand where that came from. I like to take that from you when I'm with you.
Uh-huh.
And it doesn't even matter if it's like a bad restaurant, if it's like your food
Right.
sucks, you're like, it's fine. Like everything is fine all the time, but you mean it genuinely. It's not disingenuous. And so
Right.
I think even when the sky is in fact falling, you continue to power through with a positivity that I think
Mm-hmm.
is very infectious. And I want to understand where that came from because it applied to your business and everything else
Yeah.
that you do.
Yeah. I mean, I think that it definitely came from childhood and with my upbringing with my mother. I think that
She's magic.
she is magic.
She's
She's the
magic.
matriarch, as you all
Yep.
can imagine.
Mhm.
And we love her so much. I think that, I remember a poster I had on my wall, this beautiful lion, must have been a lion or something, and that I loved. And it said, it's hard to be as humble when you're as good as I am, or something. And it was
Right?
just funny because I don't know what that kind of just said. Just
It
be humble.
resonated with you.
Just kind of, and just kind of be humble, and nothing is that horrible. There's even though there's so many horrible things, at some point there has to be some light. And
Right.
whether it's dismal, whether it's a speck of light, just look to that to find your energy, because it's so easy to get in our head and get deep and dark and not be
Mhm.
able to come out of it. And
Mhm.
and that's when you have to step away,
Mhm.
go to a quiet place. And I'm not going to be like, all go be quiet
No.
with yourself, because it
Yeah.
does make a difference. It does, when it's too much, when the noise outside is too much, and it can be too much a lot of the time.
Uh-huh.
Just go somewhere quiet, whether it's walking on the beach, going into your bedroom and putting on
Yeah.
headphones and listening to white noise, or
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
quiet.
Take the
Calm
space.
the mind, because the mind is a strong tool that can, really
Mhm.
take you to, it
A
can
dark place pretty quick.
it can be quickly if you're feeling punched, feeling beaten up, or things aren't working out and you're like, why? I think it's very important to step away and take a minute, take as long as you need, but it helps tremendously, and then it always changes your outlook on it.
So it is,
Always.
it is innate to you, I feel like, because you've
Yeah.
had this since I met you, but I also feel like, I think we've all been through our shit, right? We've all been on
For
our
sure.
downs and our ups. And I feel like you always come up smiling. Does it become like a conscious effort that you make to do that? Like, if you find yourself going, I can go dark here, but I'm not going to? Because I think
Well, I
that's
know.
important for entrepreneurs, honestly.
Right. And I know when you can easily do that and
Mhm.
focus on the crap of a situation and
Mhm.
turn it into, a lot
The worst
more
thing
of
ever.
just, it's like, all right, do I want to focus on that and feel like that? It's just, it's kind of a choice sometimes,
Of course.
and, not easy, but I think I've noticed it enough so
Yeah.
that I can
Stop it.
change it.
Yeah.
I can change it. And I think that if you can notice it, you definitely you know how to change it then.
Because I would like to share that with everyone, and I'd like to take that from you, because every time I'm
Mhm.
with you, I'm reminded
Mm-hmm.
that you could turn this into a happy moment. You don't have to be so intense about something,
Right. Right.
And I think like that's something I'm working on this year, is
Mm-hmm.
sort of like find the light, right? And I
Right.
know that sounds so corny, but I think it's really important. And I think it's really important in business, and it's really important in life.
And it's completely true. They don't
Yeah.
just make this stuff up from, this isn't
It's true.
something that
Like cliches exist for a reason, actually.
right. They do exist, and it is inside you. You can, be your own. You can be your own magic. Create, it's all inside you. You just have to. It gets muted down. It gets clouded a lot. So we kind of ignore it. We forget that the ability is inside of us. Just have to listen to it and know when time is to step away for a second.
So what is next for Mr. Brian Atwood, Prince Brian? Like, what are you most excited about right now in your life and go forward? Besides living in Halston's former house in Fire Island, which is so beautiful.
Where we love that.
And in New York City, of course.
Just really focusing on, relaunching the brand and all of this, making beautiful shoes. I think there are so
We
many
need you.
different things that I'd like to do as far as, fashion has changed. As you know, fashion has
Yes.
changed so quickly, and
Indeed.
exciting as well. But just need to really focus on what I love doing, and that's creating beauty, and that I will continue doing. And
We need your magic. We need your magic for as many people as possible.
Absolutely.
So. I love
Put them
you.
back on a pedestal.
And we all have to climb in Brian Atwood heels forever. So, by the way, I do, as illustrated on my Fire Island excursion.
I know.
I kept those babies on.
Yes.
I love you so much. We're going to do a quick rapid fire before I let you go. You ready?
Okay. Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
Okay. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Who's your hero?
My mother.
Make me weep right now. I already know this answer. Southern Italy or Southern France?
Italy.
I knew you were going to say that. Favorite dessert?
I love it all. Tiramisu is like right up there.
Okay. I also know this. Platforms or knee-high boots?
Ooh, platforms for sure.
Yep. What's your biggest pet peeve?
But I do it also. Procrastination. So that is, and like being late, but procrastinate.
But you're both of those.
Yes.
Okay. What advice would you give your 20-year-old self?
What would I give my 20-year-old self? I think really just continue to never compromise your integrity, never compromise what you believe in. And I think that's also what Gianni told me to, and that's part of the whole school of being in the Versace,
Yeah.
the realm is, he always said, you're here to learn, never compromise. I learned it from him because people loved and hated his stuff. So it
Right.
was,
It's true.
you know,
But he kept
so
doing exactly that.
and he didn't care. He
No,
kept doing it. And I think that for a designer or someone who is in the creative field is something very important, because you can always be persuaded or tend to be like, oh, well, it's not fitting into this box,
sure, of course.
but if you fit into that box, you're competing with everyone who's already in that box. Do something different that is very you, and have a voice. Say what you
Stick to
want.
it.
Stick to it. Always.
And it is hard. It's not a
It is
given.
hard, and it takes a lot of guts, because people might not appreciate it instantly, but I think they
Enough
always
people
come
will.
around to it. Yeah, they do.
Mhm. Okay,
Sorry, I
another.
sidetracked.
No, it's perfect. Martini or margarita?
Margarita.
I knew that
I'm
answer.
Mexican.
We could be on the Newlyweds, by the way. I just
I
want you to
know.
know. What's another career you would want to try?
Two, architect or rock star. I don't know which one comes first, but I think
And couldn't be more different, by the way.
I know.
I'm going to go with rock
I
star.
always think I'm a good singer, but probably not. Probably architect first. I always
No.
also wanted to be a plastic surgeon because I love creating beauty, so I thought I'd be really good with the face. So, all right.
Oh my God, that's
I have
terrifying.
3. Sorry.
Okay, I love that. Okay, ask permission or ask forgiveness. I already know this answer.
Forgiveness, probably.
Duh. Rules don't apply to Prince Brian. Okay, who is your Hollywood crush?
Oh, my Hollywood crush. Let's see.
Who's your free pass with Jake?
Henry Cavill, probably.
Okay, and what about a woman?
I mean, Angelina Stunning.
Or past icon?
I think probably Marilyn still fascinates me for some.
Yeah, same.
I think,
same.
yeah. Probably
Instagram or
Marilyn.
TikTok?
Instagram.
Okay, I love you.
Oh my God, I love you. You're my icon, baby. You're my icon.
You're my
You're not
icon.
past, baby. You are right there.
You are my icon, and I love you so much. I love that I got to be with you this year.
Me too. It was so fun.
Love having you. I love that you're the first honorary guy to ever be on Climbing in Heels. It's only appropriate. It's only appropriate.
It really is.
I love you. Thank you so much to my friend Brian for being the first male guest on Climbing in Heels. Tell me if you want more, because I think I have to add more boys to this, because there are so many men in my life that I love and respect and would be so incredibly inspirational for all of our listeners. I really loved Brian's advice about saying yes and figuring it out later. I'm actually going to take his advice. I will see you all next week on the pod.